So, uh, we understand this whole thing started with a national security operation. Tell us about this operation, when it happened, and exactly what you saw when you went with the team that visited the factory.
All right, Sana, so thanks for the opportunity. Um, it was on Wednesday at about Thursday, Thursday at about 4 p.m. that a call came through that a combined team of FDA, the police, CID, and national security were headed to the factory of Nutri Foods in Tema to act on a tip-off that some samples of the Tesiton product were defective. And so myself and another of my colleagues in the media quickly made a beeline for the place. And when we got there, an extensive search was underway. They were casing various aspects of the production process and finding out what exactly went wrong. And it was a bit of an intense exercise because the idea is that if contaminated food gets onto the market, ultimately Ghanaians will be affected, and it could be anybody. We use this particular product widely when our wives and our mothers and our sisters are cooking. And so if contaminated tomato paste gets into any home, it could cause health issues for people. And so it was a stringent set, very stringent set. They're asking questions. Where do you keep this? Do you keep that? Where do you keep that? And the whole process took the best part of 3 hours until eventually the contaminated product was found. They were keeping their contaminated products at a particular place, and everything was done. After which, the management and some staff of the company were arrested. No, okay, I won't call it an arrest. They were taken to the NIB offices at Kalkudi, where they've been kept up until last Saturday for extensive questioning. And the factory subsequently was shut down. And so, as of Saturday night, another team had gone to some supermarkets, Melcom, ShopRite, the mall, to enforce the recall order. And that exercise will continue today, this morning, any moment from now, where a team would go to the major distributors of the company in Accra and possibly nationwide to try to recall the defective product. So that's the situation as we speak.
Very interesting. You're saying it took some time for the team to find the contaminated products.
Well, it felt like some grandstanding was being done, if I should put it that way. Or, like some people were trying to cover up or just not cooperate. That's how it felt. It's also possible that the shock and awe nature of the process confused people. So nobody seemed to know where what was, until eventually I think some calmness prevailed, and then they were able to find where their place was. Of course, we followed the process scrupulously. We took videos, and I believe by the time they're taking the people to Kalkudi, some satisfactory answers have been got, because the FDA was also on hand, and they were very thorough in the checks. They made demands for the requisite material, like in terms of production, material information, batch numbers, etc., etc. And eventually they got whatever I was happy with. And so the operation ended up around, we got out of there close to 9 p.m.
Really, it took that long, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it wasn't as if the company readily admitted to this contamination.
Well, when I spoke to some of the staff, they indicated that product failures happen all the time. They cited the example, without meaning to be cynical, of the company like Nestle, who at some point had to recall product. And in fact, in my own personal research indicated that a company like Toyota, cost some kind of a recall several years ago. And so product recalls are normal. It just happens that one day in the life of a manufacturing agency, some particular process in a chain can go wrong and cause, a defective product to come out. But that does not necessarily negate the quality of the product per se, except that when that happens, then the product, that particular defective product is recalled and the problem is solved. And then the factory or the process can go on and so on. So that's just the other side to the story.
And that's the interesting thing, because typically what happens is that companies, after putting products out, sometimes immediately the contamination happens, they noticed it over time and do the recall themselves. I'm just surprised that in this situation, it has to take you from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. to find out where those defective products are for the testing to be done before a recall initiated. That's why I was asking whether there was some admission from the company that this is the problem we had, whether they had some of those products on. Did the company admit that they have products on the market that was affected by that contamination?
Well, it was not very clear from the interaction. And that possibly could have informed the decision to take them to the NID. That the feeling was that some information was being withheld, And so, okay, if you're not going to tell us the truth, if you're not going to tell us what's wrong, then we'd have to take you through, a legal process to ensure that you comply. And so I believe that's what inspired the invitation or the fact that taking to the NID for further grilling and questioning.
Harry, thank you. Thank you very much. And of course, Henry Kojo Agba is still following that story this morning. And of course, Nancy, you have two statements, one from the company and one from the FDA. Start with what the company says has happened. So we'll start from what the company is telling us is the problem. Then we'll move to the Food and Drugs Authority and what they are saying. But before we get there, first, let me remind you that our partners, Hisense, they are renowned for providing a wide range of electronic appliances. When I say renowned, I mean world renowned, including television.